All right, today we're going to be working on section 6 from chapter 12. We're going to be working with spheres, and we're going to do both surface area and volume for a sphere. Starting out here, we'll do the surface area of a sphere. And here is the formula. Just like all the other formulas we've been doing, that is not something you need to have memorized, but it says our surface area is equal to 4 times pi times the radius squared. 4 pi r squared for the surface area of a sphere. So our first example right here, it has to find the surface area of the sphere round to the nearest tenth. So surface area equals 4 pi r squared. We look at our picture, our radius is 4.5, so our surface area is equal to 4 times pi times 4.5 squared. Now order of operations is important. Make sure you square that 4.5 first. 4.5 squared right there, times pi times 4, and we have a surface area of about 254.5. Everything is in inches, so this is square inches. Round to 1 decimal because it says to round to the nearest tenth. All right. Here's another one. Find the surface area of the sphere round to the nearest tenth. We have surface area is equal to 4 pi r squared. Looking at 6.25 for r. So I do 6.25 squared times pi times 4. I get 490.9 when we round to 1. 490.9. D is our answer. All right. Find the surface area of a hemisphere. A hemisphere is just half of a sphere. Half of a sphere. So our surface area of a hemisphere, well, to start out, we have half of a sphere. So let's do surface area is equal to 1/2 of 4 pi r squared. That's half of a sphere. So our surface area is equal to half of 4 is 2 pi, and my radius is 3.7, so I'll square that. So I'll do 3.7 squared. 3.7 squared times 2 times pi, and I will get a surface area of 86.02, rounding off, but that is just half of a sphere. That's this. When you have that hemisphere, we also have this extra circle at the bottom because you have the the dome shape at the top itself, but then you also need to find the area of that circle. So we need to add to that. The area of a circle is pi r squared plus pi times our radius again is 3.7 squared. So I do 3.7 squared times pi. So I'm going to add 43.01. So 86.02 plus 43.01 gives me 129 it doesn't say where to round. I just leave it at 0.0. The other ones were to the 10th. And that would be in square millimeters. Millimeters because everything else is in millimeters, and squared because it is an area. So when you find the surface area of a hemisphere, you find the dome by doing half of a sphere. But then you also have to consider this circle down here. So add in the area of a circle. All right. Right here, find the surface area of the sphere. If the circumference of the great circle, that's the biggest circle you can have, find the surface area of the sphere if the circumference of this circle is 10 pi feet. Well, we know circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So I can say 10 pi equals 2 pi r. My pi's can cancel. Divide by 2, and I get 5 is my radius. Now that I know that my radius is 5, I can say my surface area equals 4 pi r squared. So I'll first square 5 times 4 times pi, and I get right around 314.2 square feet. Okay, so we first found out what the radius is. Once we know the radius, we can find the surface area of anything, whether it's a sphere, a hemisphere. The radius is the important thing. So whatever they give you, use that to find the radius, and then work from there. All right, find the surface area of a sphere. If the area of the great circle, so this time they give us the area of this circle right here. All right, well, we know that the area of a circle is equal to pi r squared. So we can set 220 equal to pi r squared. I'll first divide by pi, 220 divided by pi. So I have 70.028 equals r squared. Take the square root of that number, and I find that my radius is right around 8.37, and that would be in meters. Now that I know what my radius is, I can find the surface area of this, doing surface area is equal to 4 pi times my radius squared. So I'll use that answer. I'm going to square it. I'm going to multiply it by 4, multiply it by pi, and I get 880. And this was all in meters squared. If you notice, our formula for the area of a circle and the formula for the surface area of a sphere both have the pi r squared. Surface area just is the 4 times in front of it. So we should expect our surface area to be 4 times as big. 220 times 4 worked out for us. So it's just a quick little check to make sure we were on the right track. All right, after we've done our surface area of a sphere, let's talk about the volume. Again, this is not something you have to have memorized, but the volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. 4/3 pi r cubed for our volume. Write that down in your notes, add it to a slide or something where you have all the rest of the formulas. Same thing with that surface area, because we're going to be using it. It asks us to find the volume. So my volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. I need to know r in order to be able to do it. Find the volume of a sphere with a great circle of circumference 30 pi. So just like before, we can say circumference equals 2 pi r. 30 pi equals 2 pi r. Pi's will cancel. Divide by 2. I find that my radius is 15. Plug 15 in right here. 4/3 pi times 15 cubed. Order of operations still says I have to do exponents first. So 15 to the third, 15 times 15 times 15, times pi, times 4/3. 4 divided by 3, I get a volume of 14137.2, round to the nearest tenth. Since this is in centimeters, my volume is in cubic centimeters. I almost mislabeled that. Volumes are in units cubed. Areas in square, volumes in cube. So since this is a volume, it's in cubed units. That's because it was centimeters times centimeters times centimeters right here. Centimeters cubed. All right. This one asks for the volume of the hemisphere with a diameter of 6 feet. Volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Hemisphere means half, so we'll just take half of that, 0.5. And there we go. We're just going to plug in the radius. They give us 6 as a radius. 6 is a diameter. 6 is a diameter, so that means 3 is our radius. So you can do volume is equal to 1/2 times 4/3 times pi times 3 cubed. 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 cubed. It's going to be 27 times pi times 4 divided by 3 times 0.5, and I get right around, rounding it to the nearest tenth, 56.5. Everything else is in feet, so this is in feet. Since it's a volume, it's cubic feet, or feet cubed, feet to the third. Volumes are always in cube units. All right, here's another one. Volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed, 4/3 pi 8 cubed. Just type that in, 8 to the third times pi times 4 divided by 3, and I get 2,144.7. 4/3 pi r cubed. Make sure you cube that radius before you do anything else. Order of operations. All right, last example here. It says the jungle gym outside of someone's school is a perfect hemisphere. It has a volume of 4,000 pi cubic feet. What is the diameter? All right, so we have volume is equal to 4/3 pi r cubed. It is a hemisphere, so we need to put a 1/2 there. So we can say 4,000 pi, that's the volume, is equal to 1/2 times 4/3 pi r cubed. I'm going to cancel out my pi's. So I have 4,000 equals 1/2 times 4/3 r cubed. To get rid of 1/2, we've talked about this a number of different occasions. We can multiply by 2. The half and the 2 will cancel. Times 2, I get 8,000 is equal to 4/3 r cubed. Multiply by 3. Gives me 2,4,0,0,0 equals, those 3's cancel out, 4 r cubed. Divide by 4. 24 divided by 4 is 630 is equal to r cubed. To finish this out, since this is r to the third power, we need to take the third root of both sides. It's like the square root, but something times itself 3 times. On a calculator like this one, if you do the second and then this button right here, it's x to a x radical, so we would do the third root. You type your index, 3, second, and then this button, so the third root of 6,000, and I find that my radius is about 18.17. If you have a calculator like this one right here, you can just put in the 6,000, and then the second on your 0 right here is the specifically third root. So second, third root, and you get the 18.17, same as there. So that's our radius. They don't ask for the radius, they ask for the diameter. So we multiply it by 2, and we get right about 36.3 feet. All right, it's right here. You can pause it here or find this on Canvas, but here's the homework. Have a good day.